Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before I dive into today's episode, which is talking all things The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a free and easy way to support the channel, and I really appreciate it. So, with that, let's go. So, if you are watching live, be sure to say hi in the chat box. Where are you watching from? What were your favorite moments of this season so far? And then if you're watching on the replay, join us in the comment section down below. Share your thoughts, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad, all of it. So with that, let's go. Okay, so first up, let's talk about each of the ladies and my thoughts on last night's episode, which was their last night in Palm Springs. All of the fighting, all of the feuding, the men are getting involved. Let's talk about the husbands. So it is what it is. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Tay Tay. What's up, you guys? Everybody, welcome. Okay. So Lisa Barlow is still that girl. When every single storyline in everybody, and the name in everybody's mouth is Lisa this, Lisa that, Lisa this, Lisa that, to the point where even the husbands are like on Lisa's jock. Like, Justin has to apologize to Lisa. You know, Sean is like, oh, Lisa, you called my wife an effing B. Like, pipe down, little one. Like, not Sean, Shane. I'm talking about Angie's husband, Shane. Shane is so whack to me. Like, he is such a cornball. Like, I feel like he's about to, like, he's like a wimp. Like, he's gonna cry. Like, you called my wife an effing B, and that's like so weird. Like, pipe down, Shane. Like, pipe down. Go back to the rock that you crawled under. Like, nobody cares. Bye bye, buddy. But we'll get to you in a second. Let me finish up with Lisa. So, Lisa, I feel like she's doing better at handling the stress of being basically everybody's target. She's being less reactive. She's less swearing and running and doing the absolute most, which I think actually serves her well because clearly Bronwyn is trying to get at her because Bronwyn is deeply insecure, very unhappy, and is a weird wackadoodle adult weird, theater kid wearing costumes looking like freaking Big Bird and the Hamburglar running around Salt Lake City. And side note, do we think Bronwyn and her husband Todd have as much money as they claim to have? I kind of don't think they are as rich as they claim to be. For example, do we think that he actually bought and paid for to keep that $4 million diamond necklace? I don't think so because I did on the Googler and I looked up his net worth and allegedly it's $24 million. Again, you can't believe what you read on the Googler, but you never know. And why would you spend $4 million if you're only worth $24 million? I don't mean like only, but you know what I mean? On a necklace? I think it was a loaner. Like, the Norman people, jewelers, whoever the hell they were, I bet was like, okay, well, like if you say our name 3 times on camera, and show our jewelry, we will loan you the piece for the night and pretend like it's a gift. Because what person is gifting someone a $4 million necklace? You know what I mean? I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I think there's a fly in the milk. It's giving Tom Girardi, Erica Jane vibes where it's like the guy is 20 years older. He's mean and cold and he has all of this money. And then his young wife is a weirdo and is like running around in costumes all day. And then surprise, surprise, it's the FBI knocking on the door. They're being raided. Like the money isn't moneying. It's all a sham and it's all a fraud. Because I don't care what anybody says. There is something red flag in my gut regarding Bronwyn's house. Why is it not furnished and why is there dog shit everywhere? You are mean to tell me your husband bought you a $4 million necklace and he's cool with dog shit in the house? Something isn't adding up. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to Bronwyn. But I'm happy that Lisa is like standing in her own and she's being less reactionary. I'm also happy that she's realizing that, yes, it is Whitney who I think ignited Angie to go against her and ignited Bronwyn to go against her. But the only reason why she was able to ignite them is because they were already filled with the hate and the jealousy and the resentment towards Lisa based on their own low self-esteem and their own insecurities. Like if you light a match, but there's no gasoline, nothing's going to happen. She lit the fuse and it blew up because there's gas there, you know? Also, I love John Barlow. Like, if my man does not defend me the way John Barlow defends Lisa Barlow, I don't want him. I love how he steps in. I love how he takes control of the situation and really is just like ride or die for his wife. Now, what really irritated me was Bronwyn, because I just personally think she is just weird to me. There's some type of fraud going on. She's just weird to me. How come in her confessional she's like, oh my god, so we just needed John Barlow to like come and like mansplain to us and to like shut down all of our women problems. Like, first of all, keep your feminism to yourself, and secondly, that's pretty rich given the fact that your husband is like the meanest, coldest person ever, and he basically tells you to shut the F up every other scene. Every word out of his mouth is, we're done, that's enough, it's over, be quiet, I'm done. Like, he doesn't even smile at you. Like, I've never seen Todd smile. He doesn't even smile at you, and he just puts you down. So if you want to talk about men who are coming in the situation and putting women down and shutting them up, look at your own husband, Todd. And now you're out here like a weirdo posting on Instagram, like, oh, this is like I regret saying things about Todd. Like, that's just our quirky personality. We're just so quirky and sarcastic. No, your husband doesn't respect you. He treats you like a part of the staff. He treats you less than a daughter because he doesn't even like have any affection towards you. You're not warm. You're not cold. You seem like his home caretaker more than his wife. So girl, bye, miss me with all this crap. And I think a lot more about their marriage is going to come out in the second half of the season, because that's teased, we're like Whitney and Heather are talking about Todd's really dismissive of her. They seem to fight a lot. And then she has her little breakdown moment, like, you want to talk about my marriage and Todd? Like, let me tell you what I've really gone through. Okay, good. Not good that she's going through stuff, not good that she's breaking down, but good that she's finally being honest. Because when your entire personality is talking about how your husband is old with gout and how much money he has, when he brings out his black Amex, that shtick gets old really, really, really fast and really, really quick. Do you know what I mean? So I'm kind of just that's just not cool. And she's just really weird, a try hard to me. I also think it was a huge misstep for her not to invite Heather on the trip. Heather is an OG. She is an integral part to the group. I personally missed Heather being there. I used to not be the biggest Heather fan, but I'm totally riding with Heather now. I think she's totally turned herself around for me personally. And I missed her on the trip. I think she would have been a good addition. She knows how to stir the pot. She knows how to bring different storylines in, different interactions, different type of flavor. I think Bronwyn coming in her season so hot, thinking that she's that girl, to not invite an OG Heather on the girls trip, I think that was the wrong road and the wrong approach to take. Especially because she's beefing with Lisa. She's not that close with Meredith at all. And I feel like Whitney, even though not in the after show, but I do feel like Whitney is team Heather over Bronwyn, because I don't think that Whitney actually likes Bronwyn. I think that Whitney uses Bronwyn to dig at Lisa, but that's it. She's just using her. She doesn't actually like her. So if it came to whether or not she would choose Heather over Bronwyn, she would choose Heather. She even said on Watch What Happens Live, when Andy was like, well, whose side are you on, Heather or Bronwyn's? She was like, I'm on Heather's side. And everybody was like, ooh. So yeah, Bronwyn, you just got used and abused and you look like a freaking clown. And Whitney basically just played you to go against Lisa. So let's talk. Brittany wasn't even in the episode, so we can skip Brittany. Whitney, I don't know what is going on with Whit, but every single scene, she looks more miserable, she looks more evil, she looks more bitter. Like, you can taste the vitriol in her mouth when she just looks in the direction of Lisa Barlow. Like, it's psychotic. And to be honest with you, it's really kind of scary. Like, what did Lisa ever do to you? Like, this can't be that deep. But I was living when Sean, Meredith's husband, his name is Sean, right? Yeah, Sean, Meredith's husband was like, "This is the proof, biatch." I was like, "Yes, amen, and thank you, thank you, thank you." And he like put her all the way in her place. Because number one, Whitney, you are lying. It's been exposed that you were willingly and knowingly trying to set up Lisa Barlow to be the person who exposed your Alibaba jewelry, which isn't even exposing anything because all you have to do is go on Alibaba, go on whitneyrose.com or whatever it is, and see that it's the same exact jewelry. And basically you are buying, $1 worth of jewelry and marking it up to $44 and just slapping your logo on it. Anyway, I digress. But it's already clearly been debunked that it wasn't Lisa and that Whitney thought that Adam from Up and Adam, the podcaster YouTuber person, was going to continue the lie for her. But he clearly didn't, because he came out and said, "I never said that. It was never Lisa." And Whitney knew that. And now they've had a big falling out. So it's come out that she was lying and setting up Lisa. So everything Lisa was saying was correct. And when Lisa was like, "Where's your proof? Where's your proof? Where's your proof?" "Oh, my blogger friend said it. My blogger friend said it." That's not proof, right? So when Sean said, "Oh, like here's the proof, biatch," because Shane did go on a podcast and insinuate that Meredith was using Brooks's sexuality, whatever his sexuality may be, to deflect from the fact that she was in cahoots with Monica to expose Shane's own questionable sexuality and whether or not he was sleeping with men. That has also been debunked. Meredith had nothing to do with it. It was actually Monica, the one bringing up the stuff about Andy, trying to get Meredith into it. And that's what Meredith told him. She's like, "I wasn't a part of this. I was lied on. Like, this was this other person. Like, I can't, like, it wasn't me." And then he had gone on a podcast and he said this. Him going on the podcast, his own words, that is the proof. Those are the receipts. And he was trying to gaslight her at the table. He was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I never said anything about your son." And the moment Sean whipped out the receipts, all of a sudden he knew verbatim exactly what she was talking about. "Oh, leverage. Well, I thought you leveraged." I was like, "You are such a weird wimp, pathetic wackadoodle." Like, you knew exactly what she was talking about. You knew exactly what you said in the podcast. But 2 minutes ago, you're acting like you didn't say anything wrong. But now when they pulled up the actual receipts, like the article quoting you, all of a sudden, you know the exact words, you know the exact verbiage of exactly what she's talking about. Like, Shane, and to any newbies here, anytime we talk about sexuality, I personally talk about it in a way that is inclusive and love. I don't think that there is anything wrong with being gay. I don't think there's anything wrong with being straight or trans or open or fluid or bi. I think whatever you are is what you are. So I'm an equal opportunity shade thrower because I don't think that there's anything wrong with any sexuality. So the fact that Shane is going so hard, to me it seems like, are you jealous of Brooks because Brooks is being open about his sexuality? Do you envy the fact that he has support in his sexuality? I don't know, Shane, but like, you were talking about her son, especially with the juxtaposition to your wife, Angie, who lost her freaking mind when all Lisa said was, "Oh, like, when you want to get off the phone with me, you say you have to go talk to Electra," which is nothing compared to your husband saying that Meredith is using her son's sexual identity and sexual orientation to deflect from something that she's done. That's way worse. Like, you're bringing in her son's sexual, orientation or whatever the case may be, and saying that she's using that. That's way worse. And then you try to gaslight her and act like you didn't say anything. But then you quickly realize what you said. And then Whitney over here, proof, where's the proof? And he was like, boom, here's the proof. Like, Whitney, number one, shut up. Was not your fight, was not your battle. It had nothing to do with you. Meredith and Sean talking to Angie and Shane, that's their business. That's totally their business. And you're inserting yourself into it. So I'm happy she got blasted. I'm happy he was like, biatch. I'm happy he shut her down and was like, listen. And I actually feel bad for Whitney's husband, Justin, because I think that the light in his head is like finally turning on. And I think he's finally getting like, oh, my wife is actually the problem. Oh, my wife is actually the liar. I think he's finally getting it, but I don't think he would ever admit it, especially when it comes to like a Lisa Barlow situation. I don't think he would ever admit, oh, my wife is the actual problem. Oh, she's the actual liar in this situation, in this scenario. I don't think he would bring himself to admit it, but I do think he's realizing it and he knows it. Like, I think he's getting more and more embarrassed by her, but he's like in too deep and doesn't know how to get out, So it's too much. It's too much. Oh, Seth, thank you. Thank you, Johnny. Calling Seth Sean and Sean. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry, guys. Meredith's husband, Seth. Thank you, Johnny. So for the last 15 minutes, I've just been messing it up, but y'all know who I'm talking about, okay? Y'all let me know. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, speaking of Seth, okay, Seth and Meredith, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that for letting me know. Okay, so Meredith and Seth, this is what I think is going on with them. I think their whole, quote, argument over him traveling and him, not being home, I'm not buying that is a legitimate argument. I think that is a storyline. Like, these are our marital problems. Also, what happened to their podcast? Weren't they doing like a couples podcast? What happened to that? Anyway, I think that's all for storyline, because on the after show, it turned out that because Meredith was like, oh, Seth decided to stay for a little bit longer, but he's leaving to go to Ohio. He's not leaving to go back to Utah. But then on the after show, Bronwyn said that Meredith herself didn't even go back to Utah. So why does Meredith care where Seth went when she wasn't going back to Utah either? And don't forget, there's like all those rumors out there that Meredith and Seth don't even live in Salt Lake City. They don't even live in Utah. And I think that's more true. That's why they always rent houses when they're filming, because I think they only live there when they film. I also don't think that Seth and Meredith are in a, quote, traditional marriage. I've said it once, I'll say it again. I think they just have an understanding. I think for them, it's like, it doesn't make any sense to divorce. We already have the kids. We have either like, I feel like they're the type of couple who, I don't think they commingled finances, or if they did, they stopped at some point. And I think she has her money. I think he has his money. I think she does her. I think she does him. And they come together. They rent the house and they shoot for the cameras. And other than that, they become a married couple who become best friends and parents living life. And they can't be bothered to like get divorced. That's kind of what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? Because what else could it be? She didn't even go back. Now, when it comes to Angie, I know some of y'all like Angie. I personally don't get the appeal. I don't get her personality. I don't think she has one. Like, she's just up Whitney's butt. She's just bashing Lisa all the time. Her and her husband are cringe to me. They're weird. It's a very weird vibe with them. I'm not an Angie fan. Being Greek is her complete personality. Like, being Greek is not a personality type. Like, stop. It's too much. Like, it's every other word out of her mouth. Like, we get it. But you need to like calm down. I also thought that Angie's husband name is Shane or Sean? It's Sean, right? And then Shane is Emily's husband in the OC. You guys, it's been a long day, okay? It's been a long day. I'm just going to call him Angie's hubby. So Angie's hubby, I thought him saying that Lisa Barlow was abusive to his wife was absolutely wild and insane. Abusive is such a big, powerful word. It's such a buzzword. And I think he knew exactly what he was saying, exactly what he was doing. And it seems like, Angie's hubby, like, are you jealous of Lisa too? Like, do you also want to be Lisa Barlow? Like, I'm confused. Like, do you also want to like drink Diet Cokes and hang out with the girls and say baby gorgeous? Like, because you're kind of feeling that way. Like, it's a lot, babe. It's a lot. I thought that was a stretch. Angie's mean too. Angie's didn't Angie like get up and like throw her chair and throw something too? Like I feel like in like and I feel like Angie's gonna even do even more, like throw food or something like that. I don't know, but like Angie's also has a mouth on her. Angie also has a temper on her. So it's like to say that Lisa Barlow is abusive to his wife. Number one, your wife is a grown adult woman. So if she is in an abusive relationship with another grown adult woman, that's on her. Okay? You know what I mean? But to say Lisa Barlow is abusive, like that was wild to me. Absolutely wild. And then he refused to take accountability for talking about Meredith's son, also wild. I'm ready to cancel Angie and her husband. I would be totally fine if they did not come back. I think they're boring. I think they're beat. Angie's fashions is not giving. Her husband is not giving. I'm just not with these two at all. At all. Um, let's talk about Mary. Okay, so Mary to me, I think it's so heartbreaking with her son and his son and her son's like husband, or not husband, I'm sorry, wife or girlfriend, whatever she is. Because there's some reports that he married her, some reports that was like a fake marriage. I don't know. But looking at those two people, like they're just like drugged out of their minds. Like he's just like he can't even form sentences. He's like, yeah, mom, yeah, yeah, like it's like hard to watch, and that must be so heartbreaking for her. She's like, like I feel like I'm losing my son to something. If I could just, get a hold of him, get him back. Like that has to be so hard, like heartbreaking. So like I kudos to Mary for sharing her child and what he's going through, and subsequently we know that he ends up in rehab, like for sharing that, because maybe that could help other people who are going through it, get the help that they need, because drug addiction is nothing to play with. It can happen to anybody. Anybody could get addicted after one hit, after one drink, after one whatever the case may be. It's really nothing to play with, and it does not discriminate. Now, why I think Mary is being so open and honest about it, I think probably because the church is closed. I think her and Robert Sr. are probably living separate lives the way they always have. But Mary looks healthier than she's looked before. If you watch her in Pat and other seasons, she's like gaunt and like very thin. And her face this season is just a lot fuller. She seems a lot more youthful, just a lot healthier. So whatever's going on in her life, she looks healthier. But then I also think she needs that Bravo check now without the church and different lawsuits, and allegedly her house might be in foreclosure. I'm not 100% sure. These are just like allegations, rumors out there, Google the stuff. So I do think one part of it is financial, because she knows she needs to keep that snowflake, to keep that money coming in. And the other aspect of it is I think she's just in a different place in her life where she's probably a little bit healthier for whatever reason. And so she's able to share more without being as mean and as cutting as she used to be. I still think she's mean in the confessionals, in talking to people on the after show. I think Mary's hella mean, but I do think she's less harsh this season. I think we're going to see more of her and her son's journey, but regardless of that, I hope her son gets the help he needs. I hope he's healthy. I hope he's able to kick the habit, because looking at those kids, it was like, what is going on? And just thankful, I never tried anything like that, because you never know. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see more of Mary and her sons and his addictions and how that plays out. So kudos to her for sharing that because that's a big thing to share. Her and Angie's friendship is interesting. One thing that I'm curious to see is what's the and put it in the chat box if you know. What's the root cause of Mary and Meredith's falling out? Because Mary and Meredith used to be really close. They used to be like, they used to be the Angie and the Mary of the situation. I'm guessing, and I could be wrong about this. If you guys know, put it in the chat. I'm guessing it is something to do with the fact that Angie and Mary are now so close, and Angie and Meredith are always beefing, that Mary is just going to take Angie's side. And so she's just going to find fault with Meredith because she's writing for her friend Angie. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I can't really figure out another reason why Mary and Meredith would have a falling out. You know? So we'll see. Okay, what else, you guys? Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Bronwyn. I would hate to be in a marriage where I felt like my husband was my drill sergeant and not my husband. He had zero respect for her. And it also seems a little bit like maybe the reason why her daughter Gwen isn't close to the father's side of the family is because her husband Todd, doesn't want her to be, because it seems like he's almost like I'm her father now. I pay for everything. They're awful people. She's not going to see them. End of discussion. Because Lisa's like, no, like they want to know Gwen. They're open to reconciling. They're open to knowing their granddaughter, and he's just shutting it down. And it also seemed like Bronwyn was open to it as well, like for maybe not with her, but like for the betterment of her daughter. But to me, Todd seems a person who's like, I'm paying for it, so what I say goes. He seems very egotistical, very, very controlling. And it didn't seem like it was up to Gwen or up to Bronwyn. If Gwen met her grandparents, it seemed like it was up to Todd. So I tend to believe what Lisa is saying, that no, the grandparents want to meet Gwen. They want to be in her life. They want to reconcile, but it's the other side not allowing it. And another reason why I think that is because why is Bronwyn carrying a photo of her ex in her phone or on or like on her person? I don't carry photos of my ex, and I get that they have a child together, but like her daughter's like what, almost like 18, 19. That's 18, 19 years ago. And unfortunately, he passed away. Maybe that's why she's carrying the photo, because he did pass. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. I feel like Bronwyn is still in love with with her daughter's husband. Or I'm sorry, her daughter's father. It seems like Bronwyn is still in love with her daughter's father. I know that they broke up. He, at the time, did not want to be in the child's life. I know he passed away, but you can still be in love with someone who's passed away. You can still be in love with someone who things didn't work out. I think she's still in love with him, and I think that's why she has the photo. And I think um, that's why a big reason why it's so hard for her. I don't think she's in love with Todd. I think Todd was someone who could take care of her and could take care of her daughter. And I think he's probably more of like a father figure. Not that she doesn't have a father. I don't know what her background is, but I think she was looking for someone to take care of her and her daughter, and that's what she found in Todd. But I don't get a love dynamic between the two of them, and if Todd is saying no, she can't see them and putting the foot down, to me it seems like perhaps throughout the years the reason why Gwen hasn't connected with her grandparents isn't because of the grandparents, it's because of Todd. Also, unless you are super cold-hearted and evil, I think the grandparents when, the son and Bronwyn came and they were, super young, they're in college and they got pregnant and they're Mormons and all that stuff. In the moment, they probably did react very poorly and didn't do right by Bronwyn and, all of that. But after their son passed away, I would think any normal person would be like, okay, like, I don't care about any of all that. My son is dead and gone. I want to have the closest thing to him, which would be his child. So, like, even if the parents reacted very poorly in the moment, with, you need to go away and give the child away and blah, 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 because of religion and all of that stuff. Even in that moment, in that situation, if they were horrible and they did not respond in the right way, I think once their son died, they would probably have that yearning of, okay, I want his child in my life. I want the last living thing that's like my child. Like, okay, like I want that in my life. I couldn't imagine grandparents whose child has passed wanting nothing to do with their deceased child's child. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. Barbara says she had the picture from his obituary. Maybe she wanted it for her daughter. But, like, why would she have it on her? Like, that's my point, because it's like Lisa and Bronwyn were in the airport waiting to fly back from wherever they were, and that's when everything went down. If they were at her house and she was like, "Oh, let me go grab it," or something, fine. But why was she carrying the picture on her? Like, that to me is what was weird, because it's like you're carrying the picture of him, because they didn't say she looked it up or anything like that. She's like, "Oh, let me show you a picture of him." Did she Google it? That's the thing, you know what I mean? So we won't know what the deal is. We won't really know. And I think that, I don't know, for me, obviously, like, I don't have children, but if I was a Bronwyn, I would let it be, especially now that her daughter is older. I would let my daughter decide. It wouldn't be my decision, and it sure as hell would not be my husband's decision if my child, who is not his, has a relationship with her paternal side. I would let Gwen decide. Gwen, do you want a relationship with your grandparents? Are you in a place to meet them and talk to them and make things right? You know? Why would she let Todd decide Gwen's fate when it comes to connecting with her own family? So, who knows what's going on with that? I don't know. He just seemed really crazy, super protective, weird, 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 weird. Who else is there? Oh, this is what I also wanted to say about Whitney. Whitney, girl, you are so hell bent on trying to make Lisa Barlow look bad. You actually ended up making your husband look even worse. She had the audacity to say that Lisa, and I quote, incited my husband to hit. To hit? Who said that Justin was going to hit Lisa? And I don't care who you are, how does a woman incite him to hit by just standing there being like, "Oh, your wife is lying. How do you deal with your wife being lying?" If you incite someone to hit, you would have to, like, hit them first. She's acting like Lisa went up and, like, mollywopped her husband and incited him to hit her back. No. Whitney, just miss me with all that. You're just a hot, hot mess. I can't. Whitney is weird. To me, Bronwyn is insufferable. I'm just tired of all her stuff. Um, we talked about Angie and her husband and all of that. Oh, I love how Lisa played in Whitney's face when she was talking to Bronwyn. And she was like, "Yeah, Bronwyn, well, Heather was talking about her feelings. and she's talking about how she was feeling. And it's really hard to talk about somebody else's feelings. But if somebody lies on me, and then Whitney was like, I never lied on you, I was like, yes, gather all her edges, because that was the same thing Whitney was saying. Oh, I'm talking about my feelings, Lisa. You can't tell me that my feelings aren't true. And that's why Lisa was like, well, we deal with facts and not feelings. Like, I thought that was good. It was a good play in her face. Okay. I think that was it. I think that was all of the tea and all the thoughts I had on the ladies. Overall, I do think that this is a good season. I'm enjoying it. I'm like watching the women. I like watching them evolve. Do I buy all of the storylines? No. Am I a fan of all of the women? No, but that's also okay. I think it's entertaining. I'm enjoying it. Let me know if you guys are enjoying it. I also think that the second half of the season, I think it's going to be hot and it's going to really pop off. I think once we find out that Whitney reached out to Monica, I'm pretty sure it's probably to get information on Meredith, to get information on Lisa Barlow. I think all of that is going to pop all the way off. As we saw, the fourth wall is broken. Producers have to step in. I want to know why. I want to know what was said, what went down, why did it go so left. Also, I want to know why Bronwyn is cracking so much. Like, she's like, let's talk about what I really gone through with Todd. Like, I want to know. Like, I want to know. I personally think Bronwyn is insufferable and she's a wackadoodle, but like, I'm invested in knowing what the hell did Todd do to you, girl? Like, what are you going through? Like, give us the real tea. So then I can really like you and I can root for you and I can be more invested in you as a person, because when you're acting like a caricature and you're playing dress up in costumes and you're all over the place and you have this weird theater voice like, okay guys, let's go to Palm Springs, like, I can't connect with you when you're playing a part. I cannot connect with you when you're playing a persona or a caricature. But if you put all that to the side and you show up and you're like, hey, this is me, this is what I'm going through, this is what's up, that is what I can connect to and that is what I can root for, Even though I don't like Angie like that, at least Angie is who she is. Even though I find it boring and weird, Angie is still more of like who she is. Whereas I don't think we've really seen the real Bronwyn. Like, I don't think we've seen who Bronwyn really is. And hopefully we'll see more of that in the second half of the season. But I'm enjoying this season. I think it's good. I like the dynamics. I like that the husbands are involved and they're being vocal. I also think the guys are weirded out by Todd and by Sean or Shane, whatever the hell his name is. I don't know why I'm blanking on Angie. I don't think the guys rock with Angie's husband, and I don't think the guys rock with Todd. I think Justin, Seth, and John, I think that's like the core three. And then sure, they'll be cool with like the other husbands, but like I think those are like the core three, if you know what I mean. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where I land. I like that. I like Meredith this season too. I like that she's sticking with Lisa and is really having her back and isn't taking the bait. I think that's a big reason why Whitney is so pissed at Meredith, because Meredith isn't taking the bait and she's not turning on Lisa. Um, what else is going on with the girls? Mealy wasn't there. Brittany wasn't there. I missed Heather. I'm ready for Heather to come back and do what she needs to do. Who are you guys? Whose side are you on? Heather or Bronwyn's? Put it in the chat. Whose side are you on? Meredith or Angie's? Put it in the chat. Whose side are you on? Lisa or Whitney? Put it in the chat. So with that, you guys, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And yeah, I'm going to drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat with me. And then in the meantime, I will take your candy cane questions and comments. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Hey, Barba. Yeah,